You know, it's funny. Growing up, I grew up as an only child. It was my dad's second marriage, my mom's first marriage. So I was an only child in this union. And I grew up in a very protective household, overprotective. My dad was very, very overprotective. The mindset that was instilled in me was that every man out there wanted to drape me, rhymes with drape. There was harm lurking in every corner. And I don't know if my mom felt the same way. By default, she had to go along with what my dad put out there. I genuinely don't know what she felt. I don't know if she knew what she felt. She just knew this was the law. So growing up, I wasn't allowed to date, like even in the preteen way. That was off the table. So while my 12, 13, 14-year-old friends were having little boyfriends and girlfriends and going out on group date scenarios, I was not one of them. So growing up at a very young age, until I was 16, my family, my extended family, looking in, from the outside, would go, how are you ever going to date? How are you ever going to find a boyfriend? How are you ever going to get a husband? And I'm being told this between ages 8 and 16. And I'm going, I don't know. Somehow it was on my shoulders to figure out, but nobody ever stepped in to try to help navigate it with me. And I don't know. Anyway, then when I turned 16 and I became my mom's caregiver, and that's also when my dad began mentally and emotionally removing himself from the family unit. Not to mention his health was starting to decline, and then eventually a few years later he lost his job. I took over being in charge of the family. I was taking care of my mom. And that same extended family looked in going, how are you ever you can't date. You can't find anybody. Your responsibility is now your parents. So again, I wasn't dating, but it was for a different reason altogether. Because my job now, my role in life was taking care of my parents and having that role in our household. I have a reason for this backstory. When I turned 21, that's when I officially became my dad's caregiver, because he had congestive heart failure, a whole lot of things that landed him in the hospital, and life changed forever for him. And that was also when I began dating my now husband. And prior to us dating, we were friends. We met in college. So he saw a bit of what my life was in terms of what my responsibilities were. And they are different than they are now. My parents, they could be left alone then. I was just constantly calling them and checking on them and reminding them of things and all this type of stuff. I wasn't hanging out a lot after classes and theater things, So he saw that. And he still asked me out and everything. And what's funny is that when I told the family, the extended family, they were like, how are you going to take care of your parents if you're dating somebody? So it was this juxtaposition between how will you ever find somebody to, you found somebody, then how are you going to take care of your parents? So you can't find somebody. Your role is that of caregiver, and that is going to be a solo role for you. See, what my family was saying, and it came out later, that's what they were saying, and it's what I felt all along, but it was, nobody would ever want to be with me because of this responsibility. I mean, think about it. You're 20, 21. Well, my husband was 19. Oh, I'm a cougar. But what 19, 20-year-old is going to sign up for what this venture would be of dating somebody who is a caregiver to two parents? But I grew up from 16 to then going, who would want to be with me? How will I ever find somebody who's not going to make me make choices, who is going to be there when the goings get rough. Like, I already deemed myself undesirable because of that. And I had already come to terms with I would not find somebody, and my role will be solo in my life. So this comment makes me smile because, yeah, we've had to have a strong marriage. And somehow he's stuck around from, we'll put it this way. He met my dad for the first time in the hospital. Shortly after my dad was being transferred around after his congestive heart failure to different hospitals for different tests. And I missed a theater event because I took my mom to the hospital to see my dad. And my husband, then boyfriend of a month, said, "Where's the hospital? I'll meet you there." And I remember being on the phone going, "What? You're just going to meet me at the hospital?" He's like, "Well, yeah, your dad's in the hospital. Where? Tell me which one." And he left the event and met me at the hospital and stayed with me and my mom in the waiting room, and then went to the room my dad was in after his procedure, after the test. But my husband joked, saying it was the best time to meet the girlfriend's father because my dad was completely doped up and drugged. So that is the best time to meet the dad, when he's not with it. So yeah, he stuck around with after the first meeting in a hospital. So we have weathered a lot as a couple. Yeah. And he will agree, and he will help prove to this day. I go, why? Why? When the caregiving gets tough, I go, why? So yeah, we have a strong marriage, and it still boggles my mind. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.